Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're just trying to get Raj in the webinar here. I see him coming in here, so we'll get him sorted and get this started in just a moment. So give us a second. All right, Raj, can you hear us okay?
Yes, Kent, all good now. I'm fine. I'm good.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining. Great to have you again.
My pleasure. Just give me a sec. I'll get a cup of coffee and come in.
Pleasure. Yes, and I'll while you're doing that, I'll give a quick introduction. So take your time. Yes, so thank you very much for everyone for joining. I think we'll have quite a crowd today, lots of interest in today's session, and I think rightfully so. We have a great speaker with Raj joining us from India. And just a bit of background on our webinar series. This is all about bringing insights from industry experts to hopefully provide a few things you can learn as well, especially when it comes to some of the latest technologies and new age domains. So we're very excited and happy to have you here with us. Just as a bit of introduction for Raj, and I'm sure he'll go into a bit more details. We came across each other, I guess, a couple months ago now, and able to get today's date in. What I found really interesting about Raj is it obviously has a unique history when it comes to some of these latest technologies, but we are having a discussion on how much of this is hype, how much of this is real, where is it actually going, and I found it to be a really interesting perspective. So really excited to have him here. Raj is the founder of the India Blockchain Alliance, so very much helping to promote in the right way some of these latest technologies. Obviously has quite an extensive network and experience, both in India, but also quite abroad, working with a variety of startups and advisory, with government organizations, with different media outlets to help really promote and shape some of the discussions on these latest technologies. So we're really excited to have you, Raj, and looking forward to hearing a little bit more about you as well.
Well, sure. I'm having a really great time. In fact, I had a meeting just before this in one of my startups just got funded. So that's been a great way to start it's a great way to start the day and a great way to, begin this. I think this is an auspicious webinar for me. So started off well. Yeah, that's one part. Besides that, I'm speaking day after at a TEDx event in India. So that's also, this week is promising to be a real, it started off brilliantly. Yes, man. By the way, thanks for having me here, Kent, and thanks for the introduction. I appreciate this. As you said correctly, my job is to see that people understand blockchain in simple words, rather than going into too technical. I mean, that we can do on a separate event anytime. That's not a problem. But the idea is, crypto is not blockchain. Blockchain is not crypto. That's one of the things which we'd like to make clear. And now with Web3 coming in, blockchain playing a very critical role in the whole thing. The metaverse is coming up, NFTs, the DeFi systems. There's a whole lot of buzz around that. I just want to make the buzz into some reality. There's a lot of hype, yes. Well, it's a good thing. It puts it in the spotlight. But in the hype, let's look for the value. And I think today I'll make an attempt to make all our audiences understand where blockchain is. And I've been a very old player in this, so I'll try my best to make it nice and simple. I've been there since 2010, my friends. A lot of you guys who love the Bitcoins when it went up must also understand it goes down also. What goes up must come down. But remember, it's not the end of the story there. It's just the beginning. But I was involved in 2010. I was a miner in 2010. So yes, guys, you're looking at one of the first guys who mined Bitcoins from India. And well, apart from that, you're looking at somebody who's very passionate about the technology. That's the more important thing, which I would like to emphasize on. It's the passion. Blockchain is all about a passion. It's not a subject. It's not IT. It's not nothing. It's a passion. If you live and breathe blockchain, well, here we go. Today, by the grace of God, I am on the advisory board of more than 45 companies globally. That's something. I work with more than 200 universities and colleges that call me to help them curate their programs or set up centers of excellence for them. So that's a great thing. So I talk to youngsters, I talk to startups, I talk to governments. Well, now I'm talking to you. So guys, that's a little, Kent has given the rest of the introduction. I won't take too much time on that. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn whenever you like. That's how we met anyways. So that's the new norm. The networking is the new net worth. So here we go. All yours, Excellent. Kent. Back to you.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm just going to make you the host. So if you do want to share anything, you certainly can. Just a couple of admin things for our attendees as well. That if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A section I'll pick them up and make sure Raj has access to them as well. And we also will be providing a certificate of attendance for anyone who would like to have that. And we'll post the link in the chat throughout the webinar as well. So Raj, all yours.
All right. Somebody just asked me for my LinkedIn, so let me just get that out of the way because they're going to ask me that. Anyways, so we'll put it up. Rahul has picked up his hand before the whole session has started. So Rahul, maybe you can ask your first question before I go ahead. Yeah. Rahul, what's your question? Let's start with that.
Yeah, and maybe Rahul, you can feel free to drop it in the chat here because it's probably the easiest way to have it if you do have a question for Raj to start off with.
All right, this is a great way. We have questions before the session, so why not? Let's take them. Let's bring them on.
All right. See, Rahul is suggesting maybe you could start off. Maybe he has a question as we go along as well.
All right. I'll ask you the first question, Ken. How long do you want me to make this? 20 minutes, 30 minutes? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, so like 30 to 40 minutes or so. We may get some really great questions and then have a bit of time at the end for some questions as well. So
I think as we see, today's topic was what? Emerging opportunities in blockchain, digital assets, and Web 3.0, right? So what I've done is over the last 12 months, actually 10 months, I've put together some headlines. I want you to see those headlines. Then I'll start my presentation. Headlines are a great barometer of, I'm a harbinger of things to come. And that's why I always start with headlines. You read the news first, then you listen to my views. All right. I'm going to now put my video up for a moment and switch on the video, which I would like you to see. It's just 2 minutes, so bear with me. Rather, enjoy with me. I'm going to share now. All right. Share my screen. And just a sec while I pull up the video time. Yes, here it is. All right, folks, here's the video coming up. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And here's the video. It's all about the headlines. It's all about what's happening in the blockchain space. I want you to really go through this. Well, that's one of the first things I wanted to share with you. And I think those are very good headlines. Don't you think so, guys? What do you think, Kent? I think headlines are what the nation is thinking, what the world is thinking. It's not just what you and I are thinking and talking about. I think it's the world that really we need to listen to. These are the trends right across the globe. Of course, a lot of it was in India as well. 2 participants have raised their hand. Can I get the headline video? Of course, we'll get it later on, my friend. I'll send you everything. How to get internship in blockchain. Hey, guys, relax. I'll get you all the information. Let's enjoy the next 20, 25 minutes speaking, and I'll take all your questions. I promise you that, and I won't worry about the time, okay? I got my time for you guys. right? So Kent, I think what the best thing is, we speak to everybody post the little presentation so that those who are there for the presentation can have a look at that. All right.
That's great.
A little caveat before I start my presentation. I've tried to make it simple, conversational. So it's not very high on tech right now. It's a conversation with you and me on blockchain and the opportunities for us. And I take a step back from there and explain a little bit about what's blockchain for those who are new to blockchain, those who are not. All right, it's just like a revision and a refresher course, and the rest of it goes towards the careers. That works for everybody. I'm starting now. All right. Again, you don't have to see my presentation now. I'll come back with my video on to answer all your questions. Cheers. I'll be back. I'm now on my video now. Here we are. And yes. When I was putting up this presentation, I make this fairly often, everyone asks me, where are the jobs? So here's some of the ideas. Those guys are really looking for the jobs, and more important, I think jobs are important, but more important are careers. Careers is what I'll be talking about: blockchain, digital asset, Web3 opportunities. Boom, let's have a look. I want you to read this very carefully because this is going to be with us for the rest of our lives. Very soon, we won't trust anything unless it's backed by blockchain. I'm not saying it. It came up in Forbes. You can Google it and find that out. But more important, why is it being written like that? Why, unless it's backed by blockchain? I want you to bookmark this, and whenever I talk about blockchain, you will remember this. Just bookmark it for now and bookmark it for your life. So for very simple, we all know what blockchain is, but another thing which I'd like to highlight is blockchain is an institutional technology, not just an information technology. And there's a big difference between the two. Institutional revolutions are things that don't happen very often. There are two reasons why we call it institutional, both very diversified, but at the same time, make a lot of sense. First, a government is an institution, right? Different parties come, parties go, MLAs come, MPs come, they come and go, but the institution remains right where it is, right? Like a university, students come, students go, faculty comes, faculty goes, but the university remains as is. And that's an institution, rock solid. Blockchain is that rock solid technology. Second, completely different from the first reason, is blockchain has the power to tokenize and thereby reward. The reward is not available on any other technology. Blockchain offers a reward for work done, and that's the real institutional. Institutions can reward, can create economies, can impact economies. That's why it's called institution. Many other reasons. Well, let's not go into that right now. Let's go straight out inside. Or I speak. Let's see what experts are speaking also. We had Gartner saying it's a 3 trillion industry by 2030. Well, that's a lot. 3 trillion, more than the economies of many, many, many countries, right? Well, including India for that matter. But that's a question of time before we get past that. But anyways, the demand for developers has seen a 376% growth over the last years. This is a global demand. And it came up in a report from Hired, which is like a great portal for recruitment. And NASSCOM, which is a very strong body in India, IT body, which says there's a shortage of skilled resources with expertise in blockchain. And they took out they estimated 75 to 100,000 skilled resources, industry ready globally. Wow, that's a drop in the ocean, guys. Nothing. 100,000 across the globe, really nothing. Oh, well, there are a lot of wannabes as well, yes, but the real cool core ones are about 100, 110,000, maybe 125,000, but that's nothing in the larger scheme of things. Let's have a look at some more. If you Google search the number one most in demand job skill, which is, that comes across in LinkedIn, and that's blockchain. NASSCOM also had a little bit of an India story there with 3 million software developers in India, and India is one of the maximum software developers anywhere in the world. Only 50,000 possess blockchain skills. That was in 21. Pretty small, I would say. 50,000 Well, there are more people living around me in the building, probably in the complex where I live. Well, that's your story. That's the opportunity. The story is for opportunity. Let's go further. Just a sec. While my computer hung up a little bit, I'll tell you something else as well. NASSCOM recently, or in the latest NASSCOM report, had another story. In India, for example, we have right now, as I said, around 50,000, but by 2030, and that's by another few years. I'm sorry, it just shut down. Yeah, go back again. Sorry, folks, I'll go back. Luckily, we have not gone too far ahead. Well, let's go further. Let's see some facts and figures. I want you to just quickly look at these. All right, let me just give me a sec. Let me shut this down. I know why my computer is hanging. I got a faulty QuickTime player. Here we are. Right. So, Blockchain Telegraph came up but that is some old information, but 90% of US and European banks have begun exploring an adoption of blockchain technology. Accenture says it reduces costs by 30%. And by the end of 2024, says GVR, it's going to be a third 20 billion market in annual revenues. I say it's already gone beyond that. Nonetheless, these are just predictions. We should enjoy them. BIS research said they identified the food and agri market as a 1.4 billion by 2028. PwC, more than 970 billion in assets distributed across transactions. This was last year. IBM is now about 3,000 employees working on more than 600 blockchain projects. Gartner's, we already read. Reuters, some of the largest banks are investing $50 billion. Well, they've already done that now, and it's already ready, including JP Morgan is really bullish on this. Healthcare market increasing. Well, all these figures and the next one slides I'm going to say. I'm showing you these figures because actually these figures are nothing but only one single word: opportunity. Whenever there is growth in any technology, the way we see it is only opportunity. All technologies grow, but these are phenomenal numbers, guys. Look at this. NASSCOM, I'll just show you a slide here. NASSCOM report 800,000 jobs are going to be required by 2030. 800,000, right up from 50,000 in India. That's just one country. I'm doing work with a lot of countries, including Singapore, Indonesia. I do a lot of work with Vietnam, South Korea. I do with Philippines. I see a lot of people getting into this space here. Of course, a lot of people want to just are getting into the gaming space. A lot of people are getting the NFT space. But bottom line is there are jobs for everyone, and I'll come to that. So all these numbers, when the writing is on the wall, when I say this is writing is for India, but bottom line is it's almost the same story everywhere. So we won't go through too many numbers. We've seen the numbers. Coming back, and I'm circling back to the definition because that's what makes blockchain really kick-ass and super. In the simplest of terms, it's a time-stamped series of immutable records managed by a cluster of computers not owned by anyone. There you go. It's distributed. It's not owned by anybody. No Microsoft, no Amazon, no Alibaba. Nobody owns it. It's a time-stamped series of immutable records. That's the key word here, immutable. And I'll just brush past that. Each of these blocks secured and bound to each other using crypto principles. One block is completed, everything matches, next block is created, and a chain, a hash, a code is in the middle which binds them, and the block keeps building up. Right. This is more important. Why is it important? Because blockchain records every transaction made, making it secure and reliable. It just doesn't secure the block, but every transaction is encrypted and secure, making it really reliable. That's one of the key things which why people are embracing blockchain for. Second, and very critical, discards the need for third party for peer-to-peer transactions. And I'm actually going to show you one small case study after this. It reduces, users are in control of the transactions. You and I are in control. It reduces transaction time to minutes and is available 24/7, unlike banks, which are open only for a specific time. The system is decentralized, therefore safer and less likely to be hacked. Well, these are some of the critical things we need to understand. How does it work? Very simple. Don't read the paragraphs, just read the headlines, just read the dark headlines. That's it. Someone requests a transaction. The transaction is Raj has got $10,000 in his account. He withdraws $2,000. That's a transaction requested. We want to put in the blockchain. All right. The bank says we want to put in the blockchain. So this gets validated by several nodes across the globe. Nodes are like you could put a computers which have a copy of my records, but they don't have my name. They only have 10 minus 2 is 8. They have numbers. They have only to validate the transaction. They don't have to know where I am, which account, which branch, which city, which country. They don't have that. They just have numbers of Raj. Who's a hash code? I'm a hash. And they say 10 minus 2. Yes, he's withdrawn 2,000 from the ATM. He's got $8,000. This is verified by all the nodes. In short, everyone has to say yes. Verified. It's 10 minus 2 is equal to 8, and that's verification, and a block is created. The block joins the chain of my accounts, and that's it, guys. The transaction is complete. Safe, secure, validated by all, and that's why that's called a consensus mechanism. Consensus by all. Not even one person says 10 minus 2 is 6. No, everybody says it's 8. Quickly, these properties, and why these properties? Because ultimately, wherever you go and you're looking for careers and jobs later on, these are going to be a very critical part of your lexicon. It's programmable. Yeah, blockchain is programmable. It's on smart contracts. Well, we can have a separate session on smart contracts anytime in our lives, but bottom line is smart contracts are self-executing contracts on the blockchain. Once they have been programmed, they run on themselves. You don't have to have any physical interventions, and they can never be changed because it's immutable. Blocks are immutable. Secure, as I said before, all records are individually encrypted, not just one, not just the block here, all records inside. Every transaction is individually encrypted. Anonymous, as I said earlier, they don't know my name. The identity of the participants is either anonymous or pseudo-anonymous. Let's keep it as anonymous for now. Fourth, unanimous. All agree to the validity of each of the record. It's a consensus. It's timestamp. Yes, it's timestamp. Every transaction has a timestamp. That's okay. That's even there in other technologies, but here's another one. It's recorded on a block. All the timestamps are on the block. It's immutable. Any validated records are irreversible and cannot be changed. So if you ask me if there's a mistake created, what happens then? Well, then we have to revoke the entire block and revalidate everything once again. Distributed. All participants have a copy of the ledger for complete transparency. So everybody has. They may or may not know each other, but they all have it. So these are the properties. This is a very critical one sheet, which I would like you to always keep it embedded into your heads. That's why blockchain becomes so famous. I'll give a very simple use case to make it easier to understand. There are many use cases. This is the simplest way to understand why it came in the first place, and very important, why we are all utilizing it now. So, I got my daughter in the United States. She lives in LA. And well, now she's working. But before, when I used to, it used to be her birthday, I used to send her, send $1,000 to her. Okay. I would go to my bank and I would ask the bank, here, I want to send $1,000. They would show me a place and say, here, this is the rate. The rate, whatever the rate is given in the bank, was always, when I'm sending it is more than market rates, what is published in the newspapers and other portals. I used to ask them that. Well, that's decided by the banks. All right. Okay. If I have to send the money, I got to pay them what they ask me. So if it was, say, $100, on the market rate, it would be always 102, 103 for them in the bank, always more. And if I would sell my dollars, they'd always give me 95, 96, 97, never 100. That's the way banks function. Well, let them be. That's another subject for another day. So when I send that, first, I pay more money. Second, I fill in a whole bunch of forms. I have to give my ID. They validate my account, whether I have that much money, etc., etc. It takes a little time. I'm sitting down there twiddling my thumbs till they decide, all right, Raj is ready to send his money. I give them a check. and I send. Now, in domestic transfers, it's quite okay, no problem. International transfers, and that's the example I'm giving. Cross-border transactions, that's what I'm giving an example. Then they say, sir, I will charge you, say, $5 for sending the money. Why? I'm sending $1,000. Why should I pay another $5 more? I mean, it's okay, but why? The question is, they say, well, it's routed through another bank. There are no direct transfers. It is going through a SWIFT account. It has to go via a third party or another bank and then reach your daughter because you're in India, she's in America. Sorry, guys, you have to pay the $5. Okay, I pay the $5. Fine, done, money gone. It reaches her maybe 4 hours later, maybe 24 hours later, depending on the number of transactions on that day, depending on the volume, the transaction speeds, etc. Fine. And if I am late, in terms of if I am late in the day, it goes the next day. Lots of things, not a problem, but that's how traditionally it is. Also, very importantly, all the transactions, all the records are stored in a centralized server right here in one place, right? With any centralized server. So I'm depending on a bank or a card, Visa, MasterCard, or some other service to transfer my money. I need always somebody in the middle. What happens when we implement a blockchain solution? What happens then? That's the big idea. I just take up my phone, a few clicks, it picks up the market rate, sends the money to my daughter, and guess what? How much commissions am I paying? 0.0001% of what I've paid. That's right. That's right. I'm saving a lot of money. I'm saving a ton of money. And the most important, all the records are distributed across different nodes across the globe. Now that's something, how easy it is to get inside here for a hacker vis-a-vis, where do I go first? Now it has become disintermediated. There's no intermediary. I don't need a middleman, or don't need another bank or a Visa or a MasterCard or a Western Union to send my money. It becomes distributed. Look at that, all across the globe. It is decentralized. It doesn't belong to any one person. It doesn't belong to any one organization. The data is neither with Microsoft, neither with Amazon. No, it's neither with Facebook. It's with you and me. And therefore, it becomes trustful. Friends, that's called programmable trust. So the main idea was basically, in the traditional way we are right now, our banks are prone to human errors or forced errors or deliberate errors, tampering, deletion of records, losing of records. Many a billionaire have fled the nations with millions of dollars because they could manipulate the system because it was centralized in one box. Now, with blockchain, it's spread all over. It's gone all over. There are multiple nodes. I've just put a few here. So your single ledger now has become shared, distributed, permanent, immutable. You cannot change the records. That's a good thing. So very quickly, before I go further into what's happening there, the origins of blockchain, or sort of Bitcoin, came about in 2008. I'm sure some of you know that there was a major crash in the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones right back in 2006 to 8. It nosedived to half its value. There was a subprime crisis. There were many big organizations, Anderson Consulting, a lot of big boys, all went under during that time. And the repercussions were felt not just in the United States, but right across the globe. It's important for us to know why blockchain came about, because if we did not know, we'd say, well, everything was running fine. We had banks for hundreds of years. We had technology running the banks recently. You know what? Everything was going on fine. All good. But yes, two participants raised their hands. I'll answer your questions, guys. I'll answer the questions later on. 2008, 6 to 8, somebody behind the scenes was actually working on a system which said, well, this cannot happen. This actually happened because of a lot of bank interference and banks making arbitrary decisions regarding interest rates, et cetera, But bottom line was, it really impacted the financial markets and thereby the economies. Somebody in the back end was working, and that somebody put together, one second. My thing is getting crashing every now. Give me a moment, please. I will just get this in place. Just open. Hold on a sec, okay? I just have a computer crash. One of the reasons of not using blockchain on laptops. 1 sec.
Yeah, no problem, Raj. As you got to get back up and running there. So for anyone looking for the certificate, I'll just put it here in the chat as well. So please feel free to click on that link while Raj is getting back up and running here.
Yeah, do that. That'll be great.
And I see a few hands going up as well. For anyone, probably the easiest way just to type your questions into the chat or the Q&A parts of Zoom. I've been collecting them as we go along, so we'll definitely make sure we have some time at the end to go through them as well.
Great. All right, I have it running again, I think. Just a sec. And I have it. Most probably, yes, I have it here. Right, you can put your question. By the time I'll be ready with my presentation back again. Yeah, it's looking back. All right. All right, I'm going to share my screen once again, and here we are. Okay, we've already gone past this, so I'll just quickly go into where we were, and we went past our use case, guys. So, all right, here we are. All right, I was on this page. Bitcoin was born during this crisis. October 31st, 2008, coming up, birthday coming up, guys, 21 days from now, 20 days from now. Bitcoin white paper was published. What is this? I don't need a timer, guys, so it's fine. 1 second. All right, guys, I'll just get this timer out. Just give me a second once again, all right? Sorry, a little bit of fun. Yes, now we are good. Here we are. Okay, so now I think we should have no problems. Couple of applications, too many applications on. So Bitcoin was born and a white paper published on October 31st, 2008. And those of you who are really seriously interested in blockchain, download the paper, guys. Not just the paper. There are some references given at the end of the paper. Download those as well. That's how I learned blockchain. Really seriously good. That time there was not much available on the net in 2010. Now a lot of stuff is there, but that time nothing. Even today, a lot of stuff is there, but a lot of it is confusing. Nobody knows where to start, where to finish. Anyway, it was attributed to a gentleman called Satoshi Nakamoto. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, let's find out. Satoshi Nakamoto, it is believed that there is nobody by that name in the pseudonym, and it is believed that Samsung and Toshiba came what Satoshi Nakamoto and Motorola became Nakamoto, because there was no human being by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Obviously, it was a pseudonym, it was an alias, it is a name he just put up because he needed to put something, that's for sure. Probably a little scared because he was challenging a whole institution. He was creating a new wave, a new technology, a new way of doing things which banks would look down upon. It was challenging the banks. So good luck, he did it. Now, over the years, it's been awareness. In the last first 5 years, a lot of awareness around blockchain, understanding the technology better, followed by a wave of experimentation where a lot of corporates started getting into the system, working on use cases, and now creating a transformation. Now it's really taking off big time, and not only small, but large, all sorts of projects are going on right across. Sectors using it? Well, we all know a lot of sectors are using it. These are some of the sectors. Trust me, these are just some of them. There are so many more. But the biggest chunk is in banking, finance, and healthcare, governments. These are the larger ones. There are this little pie chart keeps changing every few months. There are lots of them. The percentages keep moving. But bottom line is, we know a lot of sectors. Have a look at this slide. I'm not going to read it. I want you to just read this yourself. There are 4 basic major use cases, right? I mean, sectors where blockchain is being implemented big time. Smart contracts, digital currency, what we call the Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, or virtual digital assets. Then we have record keeping, and then we have securities. If you have a look at this, my friends, these are the low-hanging fruit for blockchain. These are the areas of application where lots is happening, not only in India, but globally. That's the big pie here. Let's have a look more. This is just for reference. I mean, there are a lot of projects happening just for you, that India being a country which is, tech savvy, we've got 16 states with 92 projects on blockchain at the government level. And we all believe the government is slow, but no, it's not slow. The government has been a major adopter of blockchain, not only in India, in the USA, in Europe. We see it in even Africa, a lot of initiatives happening. I'm working in Africa on a number of government projects. There's a lot happening in this space. So what's the landscape like, guys? The landscape is like this. Global crypto industry is going to cross 1.6 billion in 2021. This was last year's report. It's already crossed it. And 2.3 billion by 2026 is already going to be crossing this very, very soon. You need not see the rest of the charts. Basically, the headlines say it all. What else is important? There are 7 keys that this is very important for all of us. There are 7 key trends driving the growth of crypto tech. And those are, a lot of people are still considering Bitcoin as digital gold. Don't be fooled by its downtrend. A lot of people are still, considering it as digital gold. In fact, recently in Switzerland, one town in Switzerland has made headlines when it said it's going to take, there are 200 outlets which are ready to take Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. Well, that's great stuff, including McDonald's. Started off with McDonald's. So not happening in India, right? No problem. Not happening in many other countries, right? But it's happening in some other countries. Now, Bitcoins, if you see the market cap of Bitcoin, it's over $1 trillion. And it's just taken 12 years to reach $1 trillion. And in less than 10 years, 75 million users. That's much faster than any other market, commodities, real estate, stock markets, the number of people in it, a lot of them. Cool. Smart contracts are becoming really big now. It's a 150 million market size, 30 plus countries are deploying it, 7,000 plus, almost 7,000 enterprise users. These are the factors driving this technology. Decentralized finance, 48 billion market cap, that's massive. 10 plus countries deployed, 88x growth in a year. Phew, that's really a lot. We've also seen a wave of tokenization. We're talking about tokenization of everything, whether it's real assets, real estate, we're talking of gold, of silver, platinum, fixed deposits, treasury, lots of things all are being tokenized. It's already a 1.9 billion market size, 21 plus countries. Well, that's a lot of them. All of a sudden, even the point number 5, NFTs are becoming big. 250 million market cap now. Almost 1% currency market share is held by NFTs. Isn't that phenomenally large? 1% in such a short time, just a couple of years, that's phenomenal. Then we have the rise of crypto capital. Crypto capital is now emerging as an alternative source of funding, friends. Yes, $86 billion in lending, 200 plus DeFi platforms, and 650% growth year on year. Where else do we see these numbers? These are staggering numbers. And finally, the increased adoption of CBDCs. Now, some of you may have read day before yesterday, the Reserve Bank of India announced its pilot programs of CBDC, where they'll have a digital rupee being piloted. That's India's also doing that. So apart from that, 15 other CBDCs are under development as well. 5 countries by deployment, including Nigeria. And I was very fortunate to be part of the task force which actually rolled out the first CBDC globally. That's the eNaira by Nigeria. And they are very happy with it. There are many other countries experimenting, and 15 CBDCs are now under development and 14 under pilot phase. That's a lot of countries, guys. That's almost 35 countries. And that's also increased by another 4 or 5 now. So that's another one. Now we'll have a look at this. NFT market is driven by art, collectibles, gaming, really is inching towards mainstream adoption, while people understand that NFTs is going to be also much more than just collectibles. Crypto capital. Now, one is the crypto capital. Also, if you see of late, a lot of venture capitalists are setting aside funds specifically for Web3 funds, projects. A lot of them. I've seen Sino Capital put up $20 million. In India, Fike Ventures is putting up another $20 million for that. Another company, there are a couple of others. I'm working very closely with a fund in US now, which aims to bring about $40 million for the Asia, Africa markets, $40 million put aside for Web3 projects. That's big. In fact, there is another one I've just got onboarded yesterday as an advisor to a venture capital, American venture capital fund, which is now coming to India with $11 million to start with in year one, and then ramping it up to $15 million over the next 3 years. That's a lot of money pouring into Web 3.0. That's big. Then we have, while at an instant, the market has started to now pick up, not just in India, everywhere. We won't go into the detail of it. There are a lot of startups coming up now. India has become the startup capital is getting to become the startup capital of the world. And there are a lot of startups. I personally work with a lot of them. I work with Startup India as a program as well. And I work with a lot of startups, even outside India. I work with accelerators in Spain. I work in accelerators in Portugal. I'm working with a lot of them in Norway as well. I'm working in Israel. But there's a lot of action happening in all these places, besides US, Canada, of course. We go past this. This was India's landscape. We'll go past the Indian landscape. There's been a lot of funding as well. $270 million in India. That's a lot. 15 million crypto tech investors in India. That's also another numbers. While I talk about these numbers, I want to highlight only one part. These numbers mean there is a lot of money coming inside. Now, when money comes in, it's for growth of a technology. And when technology grows, you need to have people who understand this technology so we can actually take this technology to a new level. When I started off my career in 2010, that was really ancient. I feel like history now. But during those times, there were just a handful of us who really knew what we were doing, or actually we were trying to figure out what we are doing, frankly speaking. But as time went, now there were hardly any jobs in the space area, or we were minors. That's all we could do, maybe that or trading. Besides that, there was nothing much in the blockchain crypto space. Again, crypto is a great use case of the blockchain. It is not blockchain in itself, but blockchain has brought about a whole new world of jobs. And today, I'm going to just show you some of them, what's happening in that space, right? Salaries, this is what everybody asked me first time, so I already put it right from, all right, guys, it's growing at 100% year-on-year growth is happening right now as we speak. In India, for example, a blockchain salary is seen to be 50 to 100% higher than other jobs. Well, if you're an engineer, you will get, even if you're a blockchain engineer, the chances of you getting a 50 to 100% salary, higher salary is definitely in place. It's on the cards. Have a look at this as well. These are some of the popular, I will not say these are all, but these are some of the popular job positions and openings across the globe. This is a global survey. The good thing is that blockchain has many opportunities for techies, but even great opportunities for non-techies. Let's have a look here. For example, if you become a blockchain engineer, you're getting 9 on 10. Well, demand is 9 on 10, great. Then you have a developer, 9 on 10. Let's look at the flip side. A marketing specialist, not necessarily a techie, 9 on 10. A data scientist, interns, technical recruiters, these are not. Development rep, research analysts, project managers, plenty of jobs, all of them very high demand. What I'm saying is there are a lot of jobs for techies and non-techies. Now, what's the job scenario like, guys? In the blockchain, in pure play blockchain, when I say pure play blockchain, these are blockchain solutions on permissioned, that is public, and non-permissioned and permissioned blockchains, that is private and public blockchains. And you can become a developer, engineer, quality engineer, data scientist, blockchain tech architects, research analysts, risk analysts, project manager, product manager, recruiter, blockchain attorney. Well, these are some of the jobs which are popular.
I'm not a recruiter, but every day, almost every day, I get requests for helping, whether it's a startup or established organizations, with blockchain talent. I don't have them in my pocket, guys. We got to train them. Training is the key. Learning, education is the key. But look at the types of jobs. These jobs didn't exist 5 years back. Now they are the highest in demand. The headlines you saw, well, I didn't write the headlines. I just showed you the headlines. Right. NFT job opportunities. Well, if somebody says, okay, I want to specialize in the NFT space, right? You can be a professional community moderator. You can be a marketing specialist, a backend engineer, meme artist, Solidity developers, UI UX designer, a smart contract developer, tokenomic analyst, influencer marketer, partnership manager, 3D NFT designer. Well, these are some of them. There are plenty more which comes up. Did you hear of any of these jobs 2 years down the line? Before that, before 2 years back, nobody knew about these jobs. Today, very big demand, huge demand. Now look at another one. We all heard of the metaverse. Well, the metaverse throws up another whole bunch of jobs for us. We have metaverse research scientists, hardware developers, software engineers, planners. Oh boy, there are plenty of experts, blah, 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 plenty of stuff. Again, even a year back, these jobs didn't exist. Today, they all do. Web3 is another space where people are talking about everything moving from Web2 to Web3. Ooh. Well, that's again, opportunity, guys. We need all these software developers, quality analysts, SEO specialists, brand specialists, community managers, auditors, engineers, strategy. I mean, these are besides the blockchain jobs, which I talked about in the beginning. These are specialist ones. The general one remains as they are, but this is specialization jobs. Again, a year back, very few of these existed. Maybe an SEO specialist existed, but beyond that, really nothing much. Well, this is Randstad India, Paul Dubois. He's now the ex-CEO. He was at the ex-MD, he's the MD. Now he's the ex-MD. He just retired. Salaries for ready-to-be-deployed professionals with blockchain backgrounds are twice that of one with blockchain expertise. And he recruits for the Amazons, the Dell, the KPMGs, the Deloittes, and the Wipros and the Infosys. He's there. Randstad India is one of the largest recruiters. And this story is not just an India story. It's a global story. Globally, people are recruiting talent and there's a huge scarcity. And that's why salaries are double. In fact, today you can ask for the salaries that you really want now. So what should you do next? My advice to you before I take your questions, my friends, learn the fundamentals if you already haven't, because the fundamentals are the pillars. Learn them once again. Learn the platforms. Learn what are the enterprise platforms, where are the opportunities, what are the blockchains being used, the interoperability, the DeFi systems. Learn everything. Explore the disruption. Explore from an industry perspective. Of course, get certified, get qualified. That's always my advice, because then people can know, right, you've done something. Analyze the industry. Come up with your own solutions. Don't look at solutions already there. That's great to refer, but try and come up with your own solutions. 2 years back, I used to work on 12 different use cases in different industries, 12 different industry use cases. Today, I work on more than 57. All these have come about in the last 2 years. There's been a phenomenal growth. From 12 to 57 is a huge jump in blockchain adoption at the enterprise level and the government level. Finally, you explore the transformation. You keep up to date with industry solutions, subscribe to the right. There are many portals, read the news. There are a lot of apps you can download, read that, plenty of stuff there, but be clued in all the time, because this is the most volatile yet most dynamic space to be. Blockchain is changing by the day. A year and a half or 2 years back, nobody talked about the metaverse. Today, everyone wants to talk about the metaverse. NFTs, nobody knew what they were a few years back. Today, everyone knows. Apart from that, play to earn games, everything else slowly but steadily getting into mainstream. Don't you think blockchain is making an impact? I think it's making a major impact. So with that, I'll bring this to a conclusion. And I say thanks, and I would like to have our journey begin. And I think an interactive session with you right now would just be the right, thing we need. So I'm going to stop my presentation at this point, friends, but the conversation still continues.
Excellent. Thanks, Raj. Lots of great information there, and quite exciting to see the potential here. There's lots of questions coming in around, finding jobs and how to get into it. So I think that last section of your presentation really helped, and hopefully that was quite helpful for the group there as well. Maybe just to kind of close the loop on that topic. So you mentioned how to go from 0 to 1 and the different steps there, getting up to speed in the latest technology. There's also some questions of like, are there some interesting places to actually find those jobs? Are there certain sites or companies that you'd recommend actually having a closer look at?
Well, I would say one of the things you should do is LinkedIn Learning is a good way to start. It's for easy fundamentals. Of course, Kent, you are a good guy to give them that information as well. So I let that little question be answered by you. Kent is there. Of course, if you want to learn, in India, of course, Kent is we are doing good stuff together in India. I'm sure that's at the college level. But if you want to go beyond the college level, yes, there are some good sites. But one is a sort of small caveat. There are a lot of sites giving a lot of information. There's an information overload right now. What you need to do is find your feet. Where am I? What do I want to go into the technical aspect or the non-technical aspect? Do I want to be a developer, engineer, or do I want to become a community manager? Do I want to become a marketing guy? Then fine tune what you need to do. And then, write to Kent and me, I'll give you the sites and the books. I have a book, in fact, for everybody. I have cherished it. I'm happy. Whoever wants that book, it's a blockchain for beginners. If anybody wants that book, I have penned it down some time back. So send it to me. I'll send you the book as a complimentary gift from my side to start off, and then you can, of course, speak to Kent from the technical courses, how they're going. Plus, I'm always there, anyways.
Excellent. Well, very kind offer. So that's great to hear. There's also, you shared lots of information on India and some of the really exciting growth opportunities there. And there's also a question related to DRDO. I'm assuming that's a government agency in India. I'm curious from your side, like, why is India so well positioned for these technologies, like outside of just being a big population? Why is it India that's a lot of the action is happening here?
I'll tell you why. See, India has always been a superpower as far as technology is concerned. It's something traditionally over several years. That's one part of it. The second part is India is a very large country and it needs to sustain. When you talk about growth, you need a technology that sort of fuels and catalyzes the growth. Blockchain is a frontier technology, has the power to create an economic impact. It has also the power to get a lot of people who are below. Let's put it this way. I call it the NHP, the next 500 million. The next 500 million are the population which is unbanked right now in India, for example. They are now moving towards being mainstream, coming into the banking. When I say banking, they become an entity, so they can get microloans, they can get microfinance loans, etc. The next 500 million moving towards. Also, India has the youngest population anywhere in the world in the age group of 18 to 25. That is really good. So that's one of the reasons why youth is where a lot of talent lies, especially tech talent. And I think we are harnessing it very well out here. We have good IT policies. We have good data security laws. We've got a lot of things happening. And we are not, as I said, even the government of India has got 90 plus projects on the ground, which is a big statement for any nation. So that, I think, all these factors put together, plus, of course, that we're all doing our bit to evangelize the technology. I think we play a small part in there somewhere as well.
Excellent. Good to hear. There was also a question earlier, and this often comes up with some of our other webinars of, I guess, a vision for Web3 and some of these decentralized technologies being open to everyone and everyone having the same access. And the question was around a lot of big companies wanting to centralize and kind of keep things under their own control. How do you see the tension between, I guess, the opportunity for the technology and maybe some desires from companies to keep it within their own walls?
Well, you can keep it with yourself. Private blockchain allows you to keep it with you, but the blockchain as a technology is what can be implemented. You can keep it with you. Also, there is a saying in India. And Jack Wilson is putting a question. We can answer it later on. We'll answer all the questions. So let's put it this way. You cannot gold, for example, and when it's 24 carats, you cannot make jewelry out of a 24 karat gold. You can collect it, you can have it. But gold is made out of 22 carats, 18 carats and below. Why? Because you put a little bit of an alloy. You alloy it with copper. You need to put a little bit. It needs to be alloyed a little bit, and that's what people are doing in private blockchains. That's exactly where it's going now. Private blockchains is the alloyed jewelry. I would say you keep the control, but yet you have the security, safety of blockchain technology, of distributed ledger technologies. And I always say that wherever you have the FITS model, wherever there is incidence of fraud, wherever there is an incidence of a lot of information floating around, wherever there are trust issues like a supply chain, and wherever there is a lot of security issues, FITS, if you use the FITS model, blockchain is going to be implemented there. Even if it's there with you, these fundamentals will not change.
Makes sense. So also some interesting questions around, proof of stake and the energy impact. I know there's quite high fees a lot of the time with some of the blockchains, which I'm guessing prevent it from being used on more of a daily basis as well. How do you see that's evolving and becoming even more ingrained in our day-to-day lives?
Yes, well, there are a lot of green blockchains now. When blockchain actually came about, there were not so many transactions. There was hardly any usage of blockchain. As a result, their proof of work consensus really worked, at that point of time. So proof of stake is now what most of the consensus mechanisms is most blockchains are actually adopting. In fact, I think one of the questions was there. We had the Ethereum merge recently, which brought it down to, brought down their energy consumption to 99.95%. Now, all blockchains, if they don't follow that, they will never last. Blockchains won't last if they're going to use and burn, and they're going to be energy guzzlers. So there has to be some sense in this, and therefore, a lot of them, Solana, Algorand, all of them are now following algorithms, which is making. There's a new chain also called Ignite Chain. Ignite Chain come up now very recently. That is actually using a great protocol. And even that's the first chain which is even rewarding developers for using the chain. It's a green chain again. So there are a lot of things happening within the space where people are bringing down the costs, the overall costs, and even the transaction costs over a period of time will probably reduce. Right now, even though the merge has happened, the gas fees really hasn't come down. That's still to be addressed. That'll happen over a period of time. This is the first part of the merge. It's still going to happen until 2023.
Yeah, and constantly changing as well. So lots of improvements to be made here.
Yes.
I know we're just at the hour, have a minute left. There are a number of maybe a good finishing point for the session. I could sense maybe from some of the questions a bit of frustration of like really how to get in and being quite overwhelming when you're quite new to the technology.
Yes.
Any kind of words or advice from your side for someone getting into it and maybe how to keep the energy and momentum up as they start their own journey in this space?
All right. First and foremost, let's keep it this way. If anybody wants to ask me, there are a lot of questions, which I'm sure a lot of them have been unanswered as well. But I'm happy, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can post these questions to me anytime. I'm happy to answer one-on-one because we don't have that much time. I would love to answer all. And all my answers will be very, very short and staccato right now because I have to complete it within this time. So word of advice to everybody. Love, as I said in the beginning, my first word of advice, be passionate about blockchain. Don't follow the charts, follow your heart. I've always believed that. Everybody talks about blockchain, this and that. There's a lot of hype. Cut through the hype, cut through the clutter. Understand if you really need blockchain. Blockchain is not required for everything. But if I told you the FITS model, if it fits inside there, you can start thinking of blockchain. Now, I'm happy to counsel you and telling you how to look for the jobs, how to actually go on that pathway, create a learning pathway for you, depending on whichever stream you're from. If you're from an art stream, commerce stream, science stream, tech stream, just get in touch with me. I'm happy to do that. And of course, Kent is always there. Both of us are there. I'm sure both of us are great guides in this space. Both of us are passionately working in this space. Always happy to help. In India, I'm always happy to help. If in any help, in India, Africa, Asia. So yes, a lot of, Himangi, a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. It's really sad that we can't answer all of them. Don't you think so, Kent?
Maybe I think we could probably go all day if we really wanted.
Yeah.
So
maybe what you could do is give them a link and they can, pump in all the questions in one box and then I'll answer all of them. I'm happy to answer them.
All right, sounds good. And just a couple admin things to close up. We will follow up with all of the registrations with the recording from today's session. Raj, if we get the slides from you as well that we can share, and get a link to your book as well. So I think there's quite a few.
Yeah, whoever wants the book, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will send them the book. That's my LinkedIn profile. Once again, I'll send them a book. I'm writing one on NFTs. I'm writing one on Web 3.0. That's going to be published worldwide. So yes, we'll do our bit from our side. But then, guys, it takes two to tango. If I will tell you something, also absorb that, enjoy that, and let's enjoy this journey together. A LinkedIn account, Mohammed, again, once again, I'm sending it to you here. Here it is. It takes two to tango. Yes, Hari, it takes two to tango, always.
Excellent. Well, Raj, I really appreciate the session. I really enjoyed it. I see lots of great thank you notes and comments coming in as well. So I think the group enjoyed as well. Maybe we get to have you back at some point in the future to explore even further. I would love to have you, and really appreciate your time and for the great session.
Perfect. Thanks, Kent, for having me. And guys, wonderful. I really enjoyed everybody's interactivity. Really cool. I enjoyed that. Thanks. And as we say, hasta la vista, till we meet again. Goodbye.
Excellent.